Over the millennia, powerful forces beneath the Earth's surface gave rise to two towering giants. Sierra Nevada to the west and the White Mountains to the east. Between them lies the Owens Valley, a deep scar left by tectonic stretching of the land. Amid this rugged terrain, the ancient bristlecone pines thrive. These trees, the oldest living organisms on Earth, were already standing when the pyramids of Egypt were being built. The Eastern Sierra Traverse is a 250-mile overlanding track through this raw, untamed landscape, offering some of the most breathtaking views of the Sierra Crest. Join Overland Trail Guides as we journey through the awe-inspiring landscapes of the Eastern Sierra. We begin our adventure in the town of Bishop. From Bishop, we'll head up into the mountains via Buttermilk Road, stopping at the Buttermilk Boulders and taking in views of the Sierra Crest along the way. Once we wrap up things in Buttermilk Country, we'll head back up into the mountains to the Green Lake Viewpoint where we'll make camp for the night. What's up, guys? We're at the beautiful Buttermilk Boulders in Buttermilk Country at the start of the Eastern Sierra Timberline. Ron and I are just camping up here last night. Beautiful view of the Sierra Crest behind us. But man, it is absolutely gorgeous right now. We have a small little breeze, not sure if you can hear that. But we're gonna have some breakfast, some coffee, and some tea. We're gonna head down the mountain, meet the group, and then we're gonna go hit this thing, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, so you're not gonna wanna miss it. So Ron and I packed up camp and headed into town to find the boys. 45 minutes later, the convoy was headed back up the mountain to Buttermilk Country. So we got the convoy, met everybody in Bishop, already aired down. We're on our way to the Buttermilk Country and Buttermilk Loop right now. That's going to be our big first thing for the day. We'll stop by the Buttermilk Boulders, which is where we actually camped last night, myself and Ron. And then we're going to make our way up to Coyote Flat to find somewhere to camp at elevation. Probably going to be a little bit chilly tonight. In fact, I think we might even hit some sub-freezing temperatures. Today it was fine. I don't even know if it dipped below 50, honestly. But we're going to be a lot higher in elevation as well. So still on pavement, should be hitting dirt here in a mile or two. Let's get into it. wrapped up Buttermilk Country Loop. We're on our way to Coyote Flat right now. Just had to burn a little bit of pavement through the town of Bishop. It's pretty darn hot down here. It's around 90, so I think what we're gonna do is climb a little bit higher, hit the dirt, maybe find some shade, probably not, and have some lunch. So we're gonna keep going. All right, guys, we're just breaking and having a little bit of lunch right now, working our way to Coyote Flat, trying to get up towards the, I believe it's called the Hunchback and the Green Lake Viewpoint. Looks about 15 miles to get up there, but it's gonna be slow going for sure, especially with Big Blue, who's darn near 5 tons. So definitely need to take it easy so we don't break anything. Got to get some camera shots along the way, but I think we're gonna try to camp up there as long as the wind isn't whipping. Get some drone shots and do all that other fun stuff, but we'll probably be wrapping up here and hitting the trail shortly. All right, guys. After a quick lunch break, the convoy pressed onward, steadily climbing out of the juniper and pine forest. As we crested 10,000 feet, the landscape transformed into expansive high alpine prairies. We could sense that something special awaited us just beyond the mountain. Our pace picked up, and sure enough, there was something rather spectacular waiting for us just beyond the summit. As we crested the pass at just under 12,000 feet, there she was in all of her untamed glory, the Sierra Crest. Traveling these bumpy trails had me wondering if we were following in John Muir's footsteps, but I digress. In times like this, it's often best to let nature do the talking. If you'd like to get more information about the 250-mile-long Eastern Sierra Traverse, then head on over to overlandtrailguides.com. Overland Trail Guides features North America's largest directory of curated overland routes with adventures in the USA, Canada, Mexico, and of course Baja. In addition to our route guides, we also have dozens of campouts, meetups, and trail run events just like the one you're watching. Why don't we get back to our adventure now? Tell you one thing about this overlanding stuff, oftentimes they don't show you how much work it is to set up camp and then tear it back down in the morning. If you're on a long trip, it's a lot of work, man. So just gonna get our little table set up and make some dinner here and enjoy ourselves. Seems like we've got some nice cover in between the pines here, so we'll see how it works out. All right. Still going. Got our most important ingredient, cerveza, also known as beer.
Desert. There's Oasis RV Park, golf course, plush, right in the middle of.
On day 2, we'll head out from our camp near the Green Lake viewpoint and make our way back over to the mountain for a quick stop at Funnel Lake. From Funnel Lake, we'll push on through Coyote Flat, making our way through a series of obstacles down the mountain to Owens Valley, where we'll make camp at Taboose Creek for the night. Good morning from the Eastern Sierra. Absolutely beautiful out here. A little bit warmer now that the sun is rising. Got a little bit chilly last night, definitely into the 20s. One of the dog bowls had about an inch of ice on it, so it was pretty chilly. But Shasta and I in the back of the camper, I had some extra blankets on me. She was curled up. It actually wasn't that bad in there. I thought it didn't drop down below freezing, but apparently it did. So let's talk about today. We are going to be heading through the Coyote Flat down by the old airport out there, which is really just a landing strip. And then working our way back down the mountain, probably going to be hitting a lot of rocky trails, inching our way in 4 low, but just taking in this beautiful landscape here. Man, you know, Coyote Flat is cool, but if you come up over the ridge over here, you get so much closer to the Eastern Sierra Crest. It can't be more than 2 miles away from us right now, and it is just spectacular. Anyways, got to go pack stuff, have a quick breakfast, and we're going to be on our way, guys. All right, let's go. We're on our way to Funnel Lake right now. I was reading Adventure Taco's blog recently, and he went up here and he just made it sound like it was a boulder field. We still got to go down the other way, but on the way up it hasn't been too bad. I've been in 4 low, first and second gear a lot, just to modulate my speed, but a lot of it's not too bad. So should be there soon, and then after that we'll be dropping down to Coyote Flat and dropping down to the lowlands. I'm sure it's going to get a lot warmer. All right, let's keep going. So we made it to Funnel Lake. Just gonna have a little snack break here. Probably get some video and other stuff as well. Shasta's coming over because I got the cheese. But remember how I told you guys it wasn't very rocky? I was reading the Adventure Taco blog, and then we hit like 3/4 of a mile just non-stop rocks. But I've heard, and I hope this is right, the other way down is not as rocky, but I guess we'll see. After snapping a few photos and reveling at the beautiful alpine scenery at Funnel Lake, the convoy was on the move once again. Below the lake, the group snaked through more boulder fields, eventually making our way to Coyote Flat. Our pace finally picking up, we couldn't help but be awestruck by the high Sierra peaks in the distance. Perched several hundred feet above Coyote Flat, this seemed like a good place to stop for lunch before making the long descent back down to Owens Valley below. From Coyote Flat, we'd begin the long descent down the mountain, dropping more than 6,000 vertical feet on our way to Owens Valley. What we thought would be a quick and easy descent soon devolved as we dealt with one delay after another. So, Keith and his Jeep is having some trouble with an obstacle up here. It makes me wonder how the full sizes are gonna do, so we're gonna go check it out. With just a little bit of spotting, Keith was able to easily manage the first obstacle in his Jeep. Unfortunately, Roberto's Raptor was struggling to get traction, so we jumped into action, piling rocks and then stacking traction boards in an effort to get his wheels on solid ground. After half a dozen or so attempts to stack rocks, Roberto's rear tires still struggled to gain traction. So we opted to give him a bit of a nudge with the toe strap that did the trick. With a bit of spotting, Sean was able to make it through on his first attempt, and Big Blue easily managed the obstacles, which I'd chalk up to its 37-inch tires and solid front axle. Just up the trail was another obstacle, a giant boulder on the right side of the trail, followed by a small tree shortly thereafter. The Jeeps would easily fit through this narrow section of trail, which would prove to be a bit more precarious for the full-size rigs. Ron took the lead, driving several miles ahead down the trail, and radioed back that there were no further obstacles. Good news, right? Well, that seemed to be the case until Roberto tried to swing this turn wide right, stranding his Raptor in the deep and loose moon dust on the outside edge of the trail. What we thought would be a quick recovery soon turned into a 90-minute delay. After attempting to winch his rear end back on the trail, it wouldn't budge. Then we tried securing Keith's Jeep to the front of the truck. Again, no dice. Finally, we resorted to Plan C, which would involve dragging the truck off trail and over a series of boulders and small bushes. This did the trick, and we were finally moving again.
Stop.
After extracting Roberto's truck from the deep, loose dirt, our pace picked up as we hurried down the mountain toward Ron, who was several miles ahead waiting for us. Big Blue slid off the trail twice, a clear sign of how loose the dirt was, but the delays were minimal compared to what we faced up higher on the mountain. 90 minutes later, we were setting up camp, enjoying the warm summer breeze blowing through the Owens Valley. On day 3, we'll head out from our camp at Taboose Creek, making our way across the Owens Valley and through Mazorca Canyon. We'll follow the track to the top of Mazorca Peak, which features impressive views of the Sierra Crest across the valley. From the peak, we'll work our way through Papoose Flats and through the rock-strewn trails of the Narrows. We'll hit the pavement and begin our ascent into the White Mountains, eventually making camp near Cedar Flat for the night.
Hey guys, we're at the beautiful Taboose Creek campground. The reason we camped here last night just because we could have fires, and there is a burn restriction in effect in the National Forest, and I think BLM too, so it was nice to have that last night. Really not that bad here, considering it's a developed campground. We got the Eastern Sierra over here. It was pretty darn quiet last night as well, and we were just exhausted. Long day on the trail, quite a few recoveries yesterday, some of them expected, and then some just kind of happened out of the blue and took longer than we had anticipated. But let's talk about today. We're gonna cross over to the 395, go over to the White Mountains, which I can see right now, make our way up Mazorca Canyon. Ultimate goal is to get to Papoose Flat, where we'll hopefully camp tonight, and then continue working our way deeper into the ancient bristlecone forest at the higher elevations in the White Mountains tomorrow as well. All right, let's get into it, guys. Well guys, if you've watched any of my recent videos, you know that I put a 15-gallon water tank in the back of the Ram. Well, something's going on because it's already at the bottom, and I feel like I should have only maybe used 3-4 gallons max, and it's a 15-gallon tank, so not detecting any leaks. Luckily I carry these, so this will give me an extra 4 gallons, enough for the next 2 days at least, and then I can refill up again before we head home. But makes me wondering what the heck is going on in there. I don't know if it's all side to side undulating and everything. Not the cleanest setup, huh? Good enough for me. All right, we're gonna load these up and hit the trail. Whew.
Intent on leaving the rocky trails of the Sierra Nevada behind, we headed south and crossed the highway on our way to the White Mountains. A pair of jet fighters greeted us, quickly followed by the unmistakable rumble of their thrusters echoing through the valley. Upon leaving Owens Valley behind, we entered the mouth of the rugged and barren Mazorca Canyon. The mostly graded road made for haste travel as we quickly gained elevation. Our first stop of the day would be Mazorca Peak. After reaching Badger Flat, the trail to Mazorca Peak begins to climb in dramatic fashion. Upon reaching the peak, we were greeted with spectacular views of the Sierra Crest and the White Mountains to the north. Having already stopped for lunch at Badger Flat, we were making fantastic time. Even with the steep and rocky trails on the way to Papoose Flats, I expected we'd arrive well before 2 p.m., begging the question if we should push on or make camp for the day as we had planned.
Good. On my side.
As we weaved in and out of the juniper forest, giant rock formations began to arise above the trees. In the distance, an immense clearing with even more massive rock formations came into view. The rather surreal landscape meant that we'd officially arrived at Papoose Flats. Recognizing there was still plenty of daylight left, we opted to keep pushing on. We left Papoose Flats behind and began making our way through a series of sagebrush-filled canyons and flats that would eventually bring us to a rugged section of trail simply known as the Narrows.
You're climbing. You're gonna drop. Coming down. Slow. See, there's no trees blocking the view.
As we stopped to check out an old cabin, one of the guys radioed ahead that I had a flat tire. At first, we thought I'd torn a sidewall on one of the many jagged rocks we'd driven over the course of the day. The sidewalls were just fine, and without a visible puncture, we thought maybe I'd burped a bead on the rock obstacle a few minutes before. Upon filling the tire, we soon realized that something had punctured straight through one of the tread blocks, so we got to work attempting to plug the puncture. After numerous attempts of trying to plug the puncture, it just wouldn't hold air. So after about an hour, we finally decided it was time to swap out the tire and be on our way.
That's that, guys. We'll plug that one when we get home. And we'll be on our way. It is what it is. All right. Let's go.
We hit the trail once again in search of camp for the night, but without a full-size spare tire, I was extra cautious about traveling through the rocky trails of the Narrows.
The struggle is real. Trying to find a campsite, nothing on the way out there. We went to this flat area. There was some prospects and some dead-end roads, but just like sagebrush, brush everywhere, and nothing suitable for a campground. So we are going down to the 395, and we may even climb up the pavement to the bristlecone area. Oh, there's a cool little canyon here. So we'll see where we end up for camp. All right, let's go.
So we hit the pavement and made our way to the White Mountains, not exactly sure where we'd end up for the night. We ended up finding a nice dispersed campsite amongst the pinyon pines near Cedar Flat.
What you got cooking, Chef Ron?
I have a tri-tip ready to go. Big piece of tri-tip.
How's the steak?
Excellent. See, there's plenty more.
Day 4 would be our final day on the trail. We depart camp near Cedar Flat and begin making our way north. We'll stop briefly at the ancient bristlecone pine visitor center before jumping on the dirt, following the trail up to nearly 12,000 feet to the end of the road high into the White Mountains. From there, we'll descend back down the mountains, making a stop at the ancient bristlecone pines at the Patriarch Grove. The final leg of our descent is down the insanely steep switchbacks of the ruggedly beautiful Silver Canyon that will lead us to the end of the track at the Owens Valley.
Or right in the middle of the trail, because you find so many people like.
All right, guys, what a day yesterday was. The one good thing that came out of that, well, not just the one good thing, but a big benefit that came out of that is that we made up a lot of mileage just driving into the night, getting here at like 7:30. But now we're up by the ancient bristlecone pine forest, so we can kind of just enjoy ourselves. All the roads today should be pretty graded and pretty easy, a little bit of pavement as well. We're gonna go to the visitor center, probably hike one of the trails through the ancient forest, go down Silver Canyon, find somewhere to camp. But it's gonna be a nice one, nice and easy, last day of the trip. But man, those views of the Sierra Crest, woo! And I'm sure we're gonna get more today, so let's get into it.
On the road once again, we followed the dirt back to the pavement and began making our way higher into the White Mountains. We'd make a brief stop at Sierra View, taking in the views of the Owens Valley and the eastern Sierra to the west. Turns out the Gambler 500 was running an event through the mountains as well. We'll come back to this point shortly. After leaving Sierra View, we'd head to the ancient bristlecone pine visitor center. A few of the guys went for a hike through the ancient pine forest, while I decided to check out the various interpretive exhibits within the visitor center. Not long after leaving the visitor center, White Mountain Road turns to dirt and the alien landscape of the White Mountains really comes into full display. The scattered pine forest eventually give way to the pale barren slopes that give the White Mountains their name. Remember those Gambler 500 cars from a few minutes ago? Well, this VW Bug was part of that event with a very inebriated passenger. We gave them a quick tug up the hill so they could join their friends at the end of the road. That same drunken passenger thought it'd be funny to flip us the bird on the way back down. What a great way to show your gratitude. After getting the VW bus back on the trail, we zoomed along, kicking up a cloud of dust on our way to the end of the road. A gate prevents further passage to the summit of White Mountain Peak, the only mountain over 14,000 feet in the Basin Ranges. The views of the Sierra Crest were impressive as expected, but smoke had crept northward into the Owens Valley from the wildfires burning in the greater Los Angeles area to the south.
So we made it to the end of the road. Something, I think we topped out about 11,600 feet. Absolutely beautiful up here. Just gonna take a couple of photos and then head down to the Patriot Grove, and we're gonna have lunch. All right, guys. Cheers. So we're at the Patriot Grove, just finishing up lunch here. Gonna go over to the Cottonwood Basin Overlook Trail. It's pretty short here. I don't even know if I'll make it all the way because we're gonna shoot down the mountain, but love these bristlecones, man. They are really unique.
The gnarled branches of these ancient trees tells a story spanning back thousands of years. Many of these pines were alive before the rise of the Roman Empire, and the oldest among these ancient pines are nearly 5,000 years old. The ancient bristlecone pines are only found in isolated groves high in the mountains of California, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, and they thrive in the Great Basin. "250 miles later, we made our final descent down from the mountains and back to the Owens Valley. Our grins nearly wide as our ears, we reveled at the rugged beauty of Silver Canyon. Content with completing the Eastern Sierra Traverse, upon reaching the pavement, we'd say our goodbyes. Stay adventurous, my friends. Until next time, Godspeed."